What's going on, guys? So a couple days ago I got a BRS automatic knife. This is their Warhead, so I want to do a video talking about it a little bit. Unfortunately, in Pennsylvania I'm not allowed to legally carry this around, although I did use it around the house, and it kind of stood out as being exceptionally good slicer. Super thin. This one is in CPM-S35VN, which is one of my favorite steels. But before I get into the knife, just want to show their new case, if you haven't seen these before. Kind of a hard shell case, although the outside is more of like a plastic rubber mix. It's not really like aluminum or metal or anything, but just simple zipper enclosure and some foam, which obviously gives. All right, so it kind of holds the knife in place. You can fit two of their balisongs in here pretty comfortably without them rubbing. But it's got a little handle on it. Pretty cool, something a little different. And I happen to get one of these as well. It says offer valid until October 31st. Yo homies, use code BRS15 for discount on gear. Alright, so there you go. If you guys are looking to get some BRS stuff, pretty cool. Nice little flyer. Alright, so back to the knife here. You can see, very simple button. It is recessed slightly into the handle, but the button is domed. If you can see that, it kind of steps up a little bit there. There's no safety at all on this. And again, I could not EDC this. But around the house, it didn't open up in the pocket at all. There's quite a few button lock automatics that, you know, like coil spring automatics like this, that are very similar in that the button is recessed just a little bit so that, you know, if you bump this a little bit, you know, it's not going to open up easily. You'd have to have something literally poke the button itself. So in other words, if this is on a flat surface in your pocket and it gets rubbed, you know, or pushed on, again, even with my finger, I can heavily tap that button. Nothing's going to happen. You need something to physically just poke the button and not the frame around it. So in other words, if something's resting on it, it's not going to open. But if something hit just the button, obviously it will open. All right. If you haven't seen, you know, coil spring automatics, it's a very simple concept. There's a spring that goes around the pivot. All right. And as you're pushing down, there's pressure being built up. And what keeps this closed is the actual button that gets in the way of it. So if I zoom in, I can give you an idea of how this works. So you can see the top part of that button, and see how it's resting against the tang there. So as I push in, now it's past it. All right, so obviously I'm gonna let the I'm gonna catch the blade so it doesn't go flying. But if you watch, as I push in, see how it wants to go? It's in the way, but when you move that piece out of the way, now the blade is able to swing out and open. All right, so I'll let this fully shoot out. See? You're literally just pushing it out of the way, and as you close this, it allows the button to push back up. So it's literally just that little bit of metal that's in the way of the tang. All right, so it doesn't want to open up until you push the button. When you push the button, it moves it out of the way, and the blade swings open and locks up. Now, one thing I did notice with this knife, is that there is a hair of up and down. You won't be able to hear it. I can only feel it. There's no side to side at all here. I did try adjusting a little bit, try to get the up and down out, but when you have a little bit of up and down play, there's really nothing you can do about that. Just tightening the pivot, all it did was just make it slower, you know, in shooting out, because it's a pretty strong spring, so it shoots out, you know, with a lot of force. If I just give it a 2-finger here, you can see how it wants to kick around. But yeah, it's just the tiniest bit of up and down. It's probably the least amount you could possibly have and still say there's play in there. Can't hear it, you can't feel it in cutting. All right, and this is very important to note because I did a lot of cardboard cutting when I first got this, and I didn't feel any kind of movement at all. But when I do my regular check, as soon as I open knives, I tend to just check to see if there's any kind of blade play. Nothing side to side, but that up and down is like just barely there. As far as some specs on this knife, the blade is 3.1 inches long. Again, it's a CPM-S35VN. All right, it's flat ground. It's kind of a modified drop point here. That full flat ground blade, and the fact it's a little bit thinner, I think it's 0.12 inches. It just kind of stood out as being a really great slicer. All right, having a premium steel on here, you know, coming super sharp. It's like a razor blade. I mean, it just zips through cardboard really, really easily. Closed, it's 4.1 inches, and open it is 7.2 inches. All right, it's also fairly lightweight at only 3.1 ounces. All right, It's a very simple design, just aluminum scales on both sides, obviously no liners or anything like that. All right, so you have 2 aluminum scales, you have our blade, we have our hardware, all right, pocket clip, and button and spring. I mean, there's not that much to this knife. Very simple, straightforward design. All right, you can see the pocket clip. It does carry okay, again, just around the house. There's a lot of knife showing though with this. Mostly just carrying it in sweatpants and pajama pants and stuff. I haven't carried it in jeans or, you know, any of my tactical shorts or anything like that. But you can see there's plenty of knife sticking up. There's a large slot that acts as your lanyard hole. All right, so if you want to put a lanyard on here, this will accommodate, you know, quite a large cordage for that. But because the pocket clip rests on the smooth aluminum, there's no issues at all. It's actually a little bit harder to carry a knife in the pocket in something like sweatpants because it's kind of a floppy, flexible material as opposed to jeans or something. So just from my experience around the house, I carried fine, but it, you know, it's not like a super low profile carry or anything like that. Overall, it's a pretty comfortable knife, very simple design, a little bit fatter up top, tapers down, all right, it's comfortable in the hand. 2 different types of jimping on the spine, which is interesting. This bottom one is more for looks. It's not really facilitating any kind of grip at all. The finer pattern that's on top does facilitate a lot of grip. My thumb naturally lands kind of in the middle of both, all right, when I'm holding it. But you can tell, I mean, this is not gonna let the thumb move around, whereas this, I can slide around on it. All right, pretty interesting there. But yeah, there's grooves cut in to the handle. It's part of their, you know, just their theme, their design. These are heavily cut in there, okay? So you can feel that with the tip of your fingers down here when you're holding a knife. All right, reverse grip is very comfortable. I mean, overall, just kind of notable things about it. It's an awesome slicer and it's super lightweight. All right, those are the 2 things that just kind of stand out with this one. Price tag on these are $220, which is not cheap at all. This is US made, which is a very good thing and obviously contributing a lot to that price. So the US auto, $220 with the CPM-S35VN. Yeah, it makes sense. They are using a premium steel. The only issue obviously for me is just that little bit of up and down. Most people would not care. I would say there's a bunch of people out there that probably won't even notice it, to be honest. For a lot of people, they don't really notice up and down play unless they're using the knife and they can feel it as they're using it, which you can with this one. It's just if you're scrutinizing your blades and you're doing those checks and stuff, you might feel it. That could just be this one. Doesn't mean it's a sign, you know, that they all have them. In fact, if you have this knife, if you have a Warhead, let me know down in the comments if you have any kind of play in yours. But I mean, overall, it's on par with, you know, as far as pricing, materials and stuff. Higher end, US made auto. And obviously anything BRS is gonna be, you know, pretty sought after right now, pretty collectible. So yeah, if you guys have this one, let me know if you have any issues with play at all. I do know if I sent it back that they'd be very good about replacing it or fixing it. Not an issue for me. Like I said, unfortunately, I can't EDC this. That's something I would probably have fixed if I can, you know, carry this day in and day out. But unfortunately, Pennsylvania law doesn't really make a lot of sense, like a lot of different law. You know, the cops, the, you know, judges, no one really cares what kind of knife you have. They really don't. It's just one of those things where no politician is going to gain anything with the public anyway for making weapons, because that's what they're going to see this as, right? Making illegal weapons now legal. That's just going to be negative press for any politician. That's the reason why a lot of our laws are the way they are, because no one has anything to gain by it. The general population, the general public, they don't care about knives. You know what I mean? Just we do. But anyway, random rant about knife law. But yeah, strong, American made, and pretty darn good. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.